Hi guys, this video is really how you could make much more money. We're going to talk about split testing. People hate talking about split testing because it sounds so complicated, and I'm going to show you just how to do it easily. I'm going to specifically apply this to Funnel Builder, but really the tactics which I'm teaching to you and the way that we test can be used for pretty much anything at all. There is a tool that you'll need to use called ClickMagick. I'll show you why I use that. You can pretty much use anything which splits clicks between A and B, but I really like to use ClickMagick, and it just makes it very easy for me. Hopefully somewhere on the screen there should be a link about now on how to get that. So the first thing that I want to do is, just a quick note. Now, I did study maths at university. Not a lot of people know that. And I know that if you're a true statistician, you're going to look at this and you're going to go, do you know, that's just not true. That's just not true. That's just not true. And on certain things, you may be correct. But the point is that what I'm teaching you now is how it can be done easily. And it's 99.9999% true. So even though I may make some scientific comments which aren't totally correct, unless you're a true mathematician, forgive me, and we'll just go on. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what's available in Funnel Builder already, which you can just use off the bat. So here I am. I've just clicked on this and come into Funnel Builder. And these are my funnels, and if you click on any funnel, you'll see that there's statistics on the right hand side. It looks like a graph, so I'm going to click on that, and you'll see that you'll actually get statistics for particular dates. Now, I've taken a screenshot of a real funnel from my real site, which I did yesterday, just so that you can get an idea of what is there. So this is one funnel from December the 6th till December the 6th. New 5. There are 5,182 page views, 3,487 unique visitors, 193 checkouts, 67 abandoned carts, and 5 pages were visited. And over here, you can see the 5 different pages that were visited. There's the landing page, the checkout, the upsell, downsell, downsell. Okay, and it gives you an idea of how many views there are, how many visitors there are, and how many abandons there are. And there is a lot of information that you can get out of this. But look, at the end of the day, Funnel Builder is not built to be a stats tool. It's great to get certain stats from it, but I think that you need to go one step further, really. And if you're going to do some testing, you need to find a tool that can actually help you do it in the right way and give you results which you can actually make use of as well. So let's just move on, and there is actually one more thing which you can do within Funnel Builder, which is really cool. If you click on the funnel, and you'll see pretty much at every stage apart from checkout, you can actually test 2 pages against each other. So for example, here I am on the first landing page, and let's say I wanted to test another page against it. Then I could put it there, and half of the time it would go to clock save, half of the time it would go to clock save copy. And you would make these 2 different pages, and you'll find out which one sells better. And that's a perfectly good way to split test, except it's icky, I think. And I think there's just a lot more accurate ways to do it, and ways to make more of the results as well. It just depends if you want to make more money. Nothing wrong with this at all, but I think my way is better. Am I allowed to say that? Okay, so I used ClickMagick, and I'm going to tell you kind of the idea. This really is ClickMagick. The idea behind ClickMagick, and try and make it really understandable. And there's a million things that you can do in ClickMagick to do with tracking your clicks and sending it to different pages, and implanting cookies and rotating and seller ads and this kind of thing. It's also very good for funnels as well, actually. I don't use it to track every step of the funnel in Funnel Builder, but I probably should. That wouldn't be a bad idea at all. But what I'm going to talk about now is not about tracking each step of the funnel, although we will get some really, really good information. So I'm really going to start off at the bottom. We're going to create, or at the top, we're going to create a new link. Okay, let's call this product 1 in Google, okay? And you'll see why. So it's really very simple. I create a link. And now I have the link we just created. We called it product. And we can see that if someone were to put this into the browser, they would go to Google. Redirect magicinmycase.com/funnel1. They would go to the browser. Let's just preview that and you'll see they'll go to Google. Okay, that's very, very easy. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back to Funnel Builder and kind of remember what we said, and we're going to build 2 funnels which we want to track. Okay, so once again, we're just going to keep it very, very simple, because what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 funnels called clock safe. We're going to copy that, and we've got a clock safe copy, and we're going to have clock safe. I'm going to call that the control. So that's clock face control. Let's just save that. If you're not quite following on this bit, don't worry for the moment, because it will all become clear. And clock safe variation, we're going to call this. Okay, save settings. So now you'll be able to see that we've got 2 funnels. I'm just going to delete the other one so it's clearer. One is clock safe control and one is clock safe variation. Now the way that testing always goes is you kind of have a hypothesis. You have something which you're using at the moment and you know gets a certain percentage, and you create a variation of that which gives you something, a variation which you can test against the control. If the variation wins statistically, then on conversions, then you want to use that instead of the control. If it does worse, then you'll try stick with the control and try another variation. And it's very much known in copy writing circles that you're always trying to beat the control, beat the control, beat the control. And it's the same with testing as well. So let's just look quickly at the first funnel. It's very simple. We've got a landing page, we've got a checkout page, we've got a thank you page. And you could change certain things and test certain things, but what I always advise is that you only test one thing at a time. And what I mean is, on the variation, we're not going to change the landing page and the checkout page. We're only going to change one of them, which in this particular case will change the landing page, and we're only going to change one thing on the landing page. Okay, I hope that's clear. Let's go to the variation funnel, and instead of using the page name clock safe, we're going to say clock safe copy. So instead of it will be, everything will be exactly the same, because you always only ever change one thing, and we're using, apart from the fact that we're using a different page, which is clock safe copy. I'm going to click on save and next, checkout, and then let's just make sure everything's changed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change clock safe copy so that it's just got a very small variation from the original. Okay, let's get rid of the logo. And that's all I'm going to do for the moment. I'm going to save that, I'm going to exit, and now obviously that will have without logo. So we've got 2 funnels here. One is the original and one is the copy, ClockSafe copy. And just so that I remember what's going on, I'm actually going to change that name to ClockSafe no logo. Okay, we'll say no logo as the title. We'll use the same product. Okay, we'll proceed to editor. And so everything is exactly the same on that page, apart from the name of it and also the fact it doesn't have a logo as well. So now if we go here, you can see we've got two funnels. Let me just open up both in separate windows. The ClockSafe variation is using ClockSafe no logo, and the ClockSafe is just using ClockSafe. ClockSafe control is using ClockSafe. Okay, this is where it gets important, because what we're going to do is we're going to take the links from both of those and use them within ClickMagick. So just to summarize, what we've done so far is we've created two different funnels. We've only changed one thing, and that is the landing page either does or doesn't have a logo. So our hypothesis, if you want to call it that, is does removing the logo increase conversions? And you always have to have a question to ask. So does removing the logo increase conversions on this page? Okay. So this is the variation. Let's just come to the control. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this link, which is the link for the control, and we're going to come back to ClickMagick, and we're going to change from Google to that link and click on Save Changes. So now if I went to this link, if I previewed this link, let's just show you, it would take us to the first page with the logo. Okay, let's shut that down. We're now going to go back to Funnel Builder. This is the variation. So we're going to do copy. We're going to come back to ClickMagick. And we're going to click on Settings and Split Testing. And the primary URL is always the control. And the URL name we're going to now put in is no logo. Okay, and once again, we've taken the URL for the variation funnel and put it in here, and we want to give weight of 50%. And what that means is that 50% will go to this link, and 50% when I click on Add URL will go to the other link as well. Let me click on Add URL. Okay, can you see 50% and 50%? And obviously, if you were doing more variations, then you would want to change it from 50, but I'd advise you not, especially for the moment. Okay, so now let me just explain what's going to happen. When people click on our main link, which is redirectmagick.com/funnel1, they're going to go either to one of the two variations. They're either going to go to the control, which still has the logo, or the one without the logo. Now what you need to do is you need to send traffic from Facebook to this URL, to the tracking link. And what that means is it goes from Facebook to the tracking link to one of those two options. So let's just try that as an experiment. We're going to click on preview, and we're going to go either to one of the two links, the primary URL, which is the control, or the variation which doesn't have the logo on. So click on preview. Which one do you think it will be? And it is the control. Okay. Now, what they do is they send 50% of people to the control and 50% of people to the variation. Now, let me just give you a few tips, which hopefully are clear, but may not be. The first thing is only ever change one thing at a time. So don't tick off the logo and also change the headline and also do this and the other and compare the control against all of those variations. Just do one thing, and then you can tell whether that's actually effective on its own or it's just as part of other things. There is something called multivariate testing, but it's very, very complicated. It takes a long time to test things, and it's not really what we want to do in this situation, I don't think. Definitely not at the simple level. The other thing I wanted to mention is once you've started a test between a control and a variation, don't then put another variation in the middle of the test and this kind of thing. You always start off a test from the beginning, or you always look at a test when both the variation and control have been receiving approximately the same traffic. So you wouldn't have the control going on Sunday and the variation going on Monday, because obviously the traffic that comes on Sunday and the traffic that comes on Monday is very different traffic. So to compare the two would be really, really stupid, because Sunday may be a much better day for making sales. So hopefully you understand what we're doing here. We're just split testing between two different funnels. We've built two different funnels in Funnel Builder, and then in ClickMagick we are sending between the two different links, the primary URL, the two different funnels, or the no logo, which is the variation. And eventually, hopefully, you will actually get some results. So now we're actually going to have a look at a real example of results. This is actually just a short period of time from yesterday, showing the full dates. I think I just set up this split test yesterday. We'll see. And I want to explain to you what these different numbers are. The TC is actually the number of clicks. Okay, so it's the full number of clicks. UC is unique clicks. So this is the number of visitors, this is the number of clicks. So obviously a visitor can click more than once, and 122 minus 109, 13 visitors did actually click on this link twice. FC you can kind of ignore. It means filtered clicks. And what that means is that clicks that aren't real people. And it's something that's really, really great about ClickMagick is it does filter out clicks and tells you clicks which aren't real. So there could be clicks that come from people within the Facebook company or from bots. And I mean, if you're doing any solo ads, for example, that can tell you what clicks aren't actually real. Now, the way I've set it up is I want to also know about add to carts. Okay, so in this particular case, 30.3% of people who visit this page added to their cart, which is really, really high. And that's because I was giving a voucher away on this one. ECR you can ignore for the moment. It's actually engagements, which you can use. And S is sales, and then conversion ratio sales. So on this particular test, 19 people out of 122 clicks actually converted into sales, which is pretty good. It's pretty amazing, actually. I wish I had that all the time. But That's what you have to know. And if you set it up, you can actually do ROI, return on investment, and the earnings per click as well, the cost per sale, cost per action. There's like huge amounts of different stuff which you can do with ClickMagick. But I'm not actually going to go through absolutely everything here because this is not a tutorial on ClickMagick itself. It's a tutorial on how to use ClickMagick or how with funnels or how to test Funnel Builder. Okay, let's move on because what I want to show you is that I actually ran this test. So this is the same as this, okay, but it's split out into different URLs, and you'll see there was only 19 sales there. There's actually 21 here, and the reason is it was from a slightly different time, which I took the screenshots, I think. So you can see for each URL what the conversion ratio is. So they're actually very, very similar. In this particular test, I added a video as the variation, and without the video at this particular time was 17% conversion, and with the video was 17.9 conversion. Now 0.9 is not really very, very much, and you'll see why it doesn't really interest me that much as well in a second when we go into a bit more detail, because you need to know how to read these. But basically what it's saying is that there were 10 sales, which is 17% on the control, and 11 sales, which is 17.9% with video. In terms of actions, in terms of add to cart, there were 16 add to carts with the primary URL, there were 17 add to carts with video. And I'll explain now why this test really wasn't so important. What you always need to know with tests is, can you actually use that information? Now, if there was 10 sales on one on the control and 11 on the video, that doesn't really tell us much. It says kind of that could really happen by luck. Just the 21st sale happens to be made on with video rather than primary URL. What you'll need to see is a very big difference in results, or a difference over a huge number of clicks and sales, which would actually give you a lot more significant advice on what you should be doing. So this test so far, after just 21 sales, doesn't tell us anything. Now, after, let's say, 200 sales, we may find that there's 100, let's say 210 sales, that there's 100 sales on a primary URL, and there's 110 with video. Now that would actually tell us more because it's 10 more. I can't work out percentages at the moment, but even though it's the same conversion ratios, for example, the fact that there's more of a difference does make a difference. And there's a lot of mathematical significance behind it. But you don't really need to know or understand about that, because we've got this table below. And what does this say? It says, in terms of actions, in terms of add to carts in this case, you get 0.7% increase when you use with video. And how confident can I be with that? I can be 50.8% confident. Now that's actually not very confident at all. What I like to see is at least 95% here. Now if I was, well, let's go to the sales. We're saying with video it's 17.9, without it's 17%, and there's a 5.3% difference between 17.9 and 17. Now, how sure am I that sales would increase by 5.3% and 54%? Now, that's nowhere near 95%. But let's say this said 98%, and this figure is worked out for you. The confidence is worked out for you. Let's say we're at 98%, then I would be pretty damn certain that adding the video on the page did increase my conversions, and so I would make this my control and stop using this URL because it performs worse. So what you're always looking for is an increase, how you can make an increase with a high percentage of confidence. Now let's say we were 99% sure, or had a 99% confidence that there was an increase. Now let's just say what that actually means is that in 1% of cases that would be wrong. Okay? Now you can never be 100% sure about anything because it could be due to chance. If you tossed a coin, let's say 10 times and there were 7 heads, that could just be due to coincidence. If you did it 1,000 times and there were 999 heads, whereas there should only be 500, then you'll be pretty sure that there was something wrong with the coin. On the other hand, there's 0.1% chance that it actually happened by chance. So I'm kind of going to conclude, but what you're looking for when you set it up like I have in this video is you're looking for 2 different URLs or funnels to test, one which has a slight difference from the other. In this case, the variation had video. In the example I gave before, the variation didn't have the logo. And then you're looking for it to spit out percentages for you. You don't really need to think about this, where you're looking for at least 95% in this column and this column. And the more different that the variation is from the original, the more drastic change you make, the quicker you'll get to that result. So I can't say that you'll need to have 5 sales, 10 sales, 100 sales, 1,000 sales, because it depends on how drastically different they are until you can be sure about an event. Now, something to realize is you don't want a very low number of sales, and you need to kind of use a bit of your brain here, even if that is significant, has a high confidence. For example, you may have 3 sales out of 20,000 clicks, and 2 of them are on the control and 1 of them is on the variation. That doesn't tell you anything because that's just 3 sales. So people always push me for a rule of thumb. I would be looking for at least 20 to 30 sales, at least 20 to 30 sales on each variation, unless you're seeing such a drastic difference that you would be mad not to stop the test because running either the variation or control is actually losing you money too fast. For example, I did a test recently where I compared having just PayPal on the checkout page and having PayPal with Stripe on the checkout page. So the variation on this was taking away Stripe from the checkout page because PayPal pays me immediately, and I wanted to see if I could have my conversions about the same but be paid immediately rather than having to wait a week for Stripe to pay me. And after about 30 sales, I saw that the significance, I think it was something like 22 sales were from the checkout with both Stripe and PayPal, and 8 sales were when I just had it with PayPal. And what that said to me is if I was going to run the test for any longer, it was losing me money because PayPal was converting at only around a third of PayPal plus Stripe. So you need to use a bit of brain here to kind of work out the results, but they are all worked out for you. Now, just before I go, because we just passed the half an hour mark, I just want to kind of stress the importance of testing and just how important it is that you do so. Funnel Builder really is incredible because you've got the upsell and downsell. The difference between 1% conversion, 1% addition and conversion on the front end can make a massive difference in revenue. For example, if you were converting at 1% and now you're converting at 2% through testing and through trying different things, then it means that those customers also have a chance, double the amount of chance, to see your upsells and downsells. So especially with Funnel Builder, if you're not testing different pages and actually knowing which is better and which is worse, then you really are, and I hate to use this cliche because they use it the whole time, I think, in internet marketing. But I'm not trying to get your money, though. I'm saying it honestly, but you really are throwing money down the toilet. So if there's one thing that you take away from this, please, 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 do test your funnels, do test your pages, see which performs better, and never have a funnel going which doesn't have a test going on, because you might as well test just something. I mean, how long did it take me to do that, removing the logo? It took about 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then to duplicate the funnel. So all I'm saying is, please spend 10 minutes now and think of a test that you want to do and actually set that up. If you want any help doing it, look, I'm here to help you. You can ask in the Facebook. Please do ask in the Facebook for my help, and I'll happily help you out to get that going. So yeah, finishing off. Oh, the last thing I'm going to say is, if you do want to, I'm going to put a link on this page where you can actually get that from, or I'll put a link on the video. Obviously, you don't have to, but it would help if you went through that link. I think I make a little bit of commission on that, and it would just make sure that I carry on making videos like this, and really try to help you out and help you in the groups as well. So that link should be on the screen somewhere, probably bottom right or something like that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to ask questions, give me feedback, whatever. And I love you. Speak to you later.